Hello creators and makers, this is TheRandomEngineer. Today we're going to continue designing our dog kennel using SolidWorks elements and usual SolidWorks tools. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and do it. So last time we stopped here using we were just doing a roof and the sides. So today we're going to do the little door that I said I was going to do over here, and probably just close this side, and I'm going to show you some interesting stuff that you can do, that you can do like a virtual tour or something like that. So for that we're going to create our door. Main thing is going to be our actual size. So for this we're going to say 250 by 490. Yeah, so we're going to create that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just create that. We said 250 by 490. I'm just going to drag the midpoint and say constant collinear. Sorry, midpoint. Just going to check this 490 and 250. Yeah, it is. So we're gonna give it this. We can probably use the same materials here, so that's gonna be 2 mil. We're gonna extrude this for 2 mil, and we're gonna copy the appearance and paste it on the other part. And just gonna say, oh wait. So now we're gonna have to do the fixing holes. So it's gonna be 2 hinges and 2 holes for the handles. So these 2 holes have to be equal. These 4 holes have to be equal, and they all have to be horizontally aligned. So that's what I'm gonna do. And just a trick I learned here, it's you just have to do that and make the lines again. You just make these two the same as and collinear, well, sorry, equal and for construction, and do the same here, and just put that here like so, and make them as again equal and for construction. So what it's gonna allow me to do is that I can probably just change one and everything is gonna update. And so I'm gonna say that's gonna be maybe from there. Okay, yeah, from the side to the edge of the hole can be. What you do is do your smart dimension, hold the shift, and then go to the edge, to the closest edge, and that's gonna give you the closest dimension. If you go to the farther edge, it's gonna give you the farthest dimension, and if you don't hold anything, it's just gonna give you the middle dimension. So yeah, I want that one. Yeah, so I'm gonna say 100 here. Seems like it cannot be done like that. Let's try again. No, maybe it's too big. So Instant 2D is just a new feature of SolidWorks that allows you to change this. Okay, that's it. Right, so I'm gonna first say the whole I think it's just gonna be M4, and now I can actually click and drag it along, and now it can be 100. It's just sometimes that SolidWorks tries to create what it thinks you wanna do, and it's not the best always. So let's just gonna say 10 from now, and this is the handles. So let's say M8. Let's say from there to there, just a handle bar, which will be 100 mil away, should be good. And just the height, maybe just 50. Yeah, seems right. And now we have the holes ready for our part. Now what I'm gonna do now is just save it as a door, let's say door. And now I'm gonna drag it here. And I just wanna, yeah, that's the one. So for now we're gonna say, we're just gonna locate it where it's supposed to go. Okay, for now, since we haven't designed the hinges first yet, we're just gonna say that this line and this line are coincident. Okay, that line and that line, I'm holding Control, and now coincident, that means that those two lines will always be the same and it will act as a hinge. It's not a hinge mate but a coincident mate, but it will act as like if it was one. But as you see, it acts interference and everything. But for now we're gonna do that until we actually find a hinge that works. So we only say that this is coincident, and as you see now, you can open and close the door. Maybe we can have some clips down here so it snaps there and keeps closed. Right? So once that's done, oh sorry, I shouldn't have done this mate because this is supposed to be in the middle. So you have two ways of doing this. One way is doing the symmetry mate or a symmetric mate. So the difference between those is you go symmetric, and for the symmetric one it needs a middle plane and two planes that or faces that act as a center space. So I'm gonna click the right plane, which is gonna be the right plane of the door part, and I'm gonna click on these two. So I'm gonna click on that one and that one, and that's gonna automatically center it to the middle. You see this plane and that plane are equally distanced from that plane. That's what the symmetric plane symmetric mate does. And if you don't wanna use that symmetric mate, you can use it's called width mate, which is kind of the same. The only difference is that instead of a middle plane, you can select a virtual middle plane that's created by two faces. So the two first faces will be these ones, and as you can imagine, you can have a middle plane between these two faces, and then that middle plane is going to be coincident with another virtual imaginary middle plane that's going to be there. So as you see, the blue ones create a mid plane, and the purple ones create another mid plane, and those two mid planes should be coincident, so that's how it creates the middle plane there. Good thing about the width mate is that these two don't necessarily have to be parallel. Those can be in an angle, and it will still make the symmetric, create an imaginary plane in the middle of those two planes, and that's how it basically works. But for now, it's just gonna pretty much be the same. So I'm just gonna check to my chat. If you have any questions during my live stream, you can just ask it and I'll be happy to ask you. So maybe just to define it a little bit better, we're gonna create a angle mate, which is gonna be an advanced one. So I'm gonna say maybe 30 degrees is okay. So the minimum here is 0, maximum 30 between these two, that one and that one. And I'm just gonna say flip the dimension. You have to play a little bit here because it's creating the complementary planes and stuff like that. So now we can go from 0 to 30. You see? So maybe a little bit more. And to change that, you just go mates in the door and change that to say 90. probably 90 is okay. Now as you see, it's completely opened. Alright, so now I'm gonna activate my symmetric mate, and it will give me a warning or an error saying that it's overdefined because this part is already located. As you see, there's no dash before the name. If there was a dash, that means that it's not yet completely defined. So I'm gonna do it and we'll see what happens. Alright, it seems like it doesn't recognize it as overdefined, but you can either use that or that mate, and I'm gonna choose this symmetric mate just because it takes less computational power to calculate that mate instead of this one. Alright, so I'm gonna delete that because we don't need it and it's the same result. And seems like, oh, I deleted the wrong one, so I'm gonna go Control Z, and I have to delete that one, sorry. Now we're talking. So we've done our little door there. Then we're gonna do, yeah, we're gonna close this, and to do so we're gonna make a section plane in the front plane. Yeah, front plane is gonna allow us to see the actual shape. So I just want to make sure that if I put a wall here, you will be able, you will be able to see it from this. So I'll probably just go halfway. Yeah, I'll just probably go just all the way to here. So from there to the floor, it's about 800 mil. So you just have to be careful that your dog isn't that big, standing up obviously. So if your dog is standing up here, 800 mil is almost like a meter. It needs to be a small dog, but we already knew that, so that makes sense. So just to do that, we're gonna create the shape that we want, and that's gonna be, so we were using the new part from assembly. I don't want to do that now, so you could probably just do it, but I'm just gonna create a new part because it's cleaner. I think it's cleaner, but there is really no difference. So I'm just gonna do that. Midpoint, horizontal. Oops, that's the G. There you go. So the G is just like a magnifying glass. It will magnify everything you want within that perimeter, but not the sides, but not what's outside. And you can, if you could drag your mouse to the side, it will drag it on the other way, and you just activate it with the G key. Right, so we wanted this shape. We just want a trapezium, if that's the name. We're just gonna say same, right click, midpoint, midpoint, and vertical. So they make these two in the same angle. And we can change this in a little bit. We care about this, and we care about that. And obviously we care about that. Oh, maybe we don't care about this. We care about that. So now, as you see, I'm completely defining my sketch in a different way. I could have just done this, and it's completely defined. But that would mean in the future, when I try to fit it in my kennel, I will have to find the angle, and it's easier for me to find this, or maybe not. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna put this. I know the angle is better because I can probably find it out easier. But I'm gonna do this so I can show you what's the difference between doing that or doing that. Right, so that's design thinking. All right, so we're gonna say we're gonna use the same materials we used here. I think it's 3 mil or 5 mil, 3 mil. Okay, and we're gonna say extruding for 3 mil. Copy appearance and paste appearance in the part. And now I'm gonna say cover, ceiling cover. I think it's double E. Oh, top cover. All right. So now I'm just gonna put the top cover, and as you see, since I made a cut, if I click on it, it will probably won't show. So you have to be careful about that. I'm just gonna take this section view off so I can actually see it, and position it where I want it to, just by hiding this. You can click on this and say hide components, or just click on the tab key, and now that's what we want. So I'm gonna locate it roughly where I want it to. So I want this face and that face to be concentric. No, sorry, coincident. I want that face and that face to be coincident too. And I want this to be in the middle. So I'm gonna click on the right plane and say right plane. And as you see, I'm designing everything so that most of the parts are centered by these top planes. These assembly planes, just because if something changes, we know that those planes won't, and we don't have to fix it in the future. Right, so we want to measure. I didn't see that. Well, we need to change this in the future. Okay, so we just have to say that's 990. So double click and change this 990. Update, and we can say from there to there it's 108. Double click, 108, rebuild. Now this is what I said just previously. I have to measure from there to there, and that's 656.16. 656.16, and that's obviously not going to be perfect because I've got that gap there. You see? The only thing that that could make it perfect is if I actually put the actual dimension. That's 108.42 plus 0.42, and now it's going to be perfect. But as you see, I had to measure it a couple of times, and if I want to change to 108, it won't work. So for example, if I wanted 105, as you see now, you have just let me make the cut. As you see now, the angle is different and there's a interference there. So that's not the best way of doing it. So we know the angles from here to here, they're all the same. So 30.96, if we change that in the actual part, Let's delete this and say 30.96. Save it, go back, and now as you see, it's fixed. And even if I change this height, it will always be perfect. So let's say 200. And as you see, there's no interference just because the angle it hasn't changed. And just to show you what I meant before, there will be a line there you will be able to see, and I don't know if you like that. So I'm just gonna leave it at 108, and we're all good now. Yep, I think that's good. We could probably do something else, you know, just like put another roof here, so that even if your dog would be able to jump over this place, there will still be a little top there that wouldn't allow him to get into anything. But I'm not really 100% worried about that. So let's just leave it like that. I think it's good enough. So that was pretty much my plan for today, but I think I'm gonna keep going. I want to show you, let me just show this, yeah. So I can show you now a walkthrough. That's always helpful when you want to show or try to be in the client's eyes, in this case the dog. So I'm just gonna go into appearances, display manager, sorry, and you have three options here. You can view and edit your appearances, your decals, which are like stickers, and your scene lights and cameras. So what we're interested on today is walkthroughs. So you can go add a walkthrough, start a walkthrough, and just before you do that, just remember you have a top plane. So the top plane is going to be your ground, and you can say how tall you wanna, how tall is the person or thing that's gonna be through the walkthrough. I mean, through your design. So let's just say 1.7 meters to see how big it is from a human perspective. It's just gonna tell you some stuff like controls, but it's mostly like a video game. So I always go WASD just because I'm used to playing video games and it's easier for me. And if you go left click, you can pan your view. And as you see, it's all with perspective, and you can actually, let me just go back a little bit and put it real view and put all this good stuff. Let's see if it lets me do it. So I'm gonna add a walkthrough, 1.7 meters again. Yeah, seems like it's letting me do it in pre-render mode. So that's pretty much how big it's gonna be your kennel. Now, if you wanna put it in if you wanna put it in like in the dog mode, you have two options. Is you can move down, but you don't know how much that is, so I always like to go back and just say let's say 700 mil. And now we're going to start from there. So that's going to be your dog's perspective. Obviously he will have to just look down, and once it's in, you're going to see that, which is pretty cool. Good light, good views. There's going to be a door here which is going to be covered, and now if it rains he can find some shelter in there. It's pretty nice. So that's your dog's perspective. What do you guys think? And as you see, our little dog stopper is gonna let us, it's not gonna let us do anything, even if you stand up. You will be able to see your, oops, you can probably see the foot but won't be able to reach it. Unless your dog is really big or really smart, so you can just be mindful about that. You can edit the design anyway in the future, so if it's a big dog you can do bigger and stuff like that. So let's just go back and just let me check something first before I do something. Yeah, so just to finish this, I'm gonna keep clicking on this, and I'm gonna probably just close this side. Oh yeah, I just remembered there is a little mistake here. There's a little interference there. So I'm gonna hide this so I can see it better. If I look at it from here, I'm just gonna click on that plane and say cut view, and to the other side. I want to see the other side, and that's what I want to see. So if I look at it from the top, I will be able to see that. So that's my interference. And as I change this, remember I said 30 and 30, you could say they are both equal. Well, that's why I'd rather do this, so in the future I'll have to go back, delete the relationship and then define it, and just so I know what works and what doesn't. So I'm just going to change 50, and probably this is going to be 55. There you go. Now it's all good. And now I'm gonna show my other two parts just to see how it looks, if it's still looking good, or if I should just close. And I think, oops, this one. Yeah. No, it's still looking good. This is still covering it how it's supposed to be. Yeah, so just before I do the front and back, I will make this inner room. So to do that, I'm gonna do the same. I think we're gonna leave it today after this. So I can just measure the length here. That's 1,000. And this is 663. So 1,000 by 663. I'm going to click on the origin point and say midpoint. That doesn't seem right. I think it's the other way around. Yeah, that looks better. Now, probably I'll just make a regular dock entrance. So now I'm making lines, and you can go, so you can just stop, and then as you see, you keep dragging the line, but if you go back to the point, you'll be able to create an arc, without having to actually make the arc relationship. So I'm just gonna say that's tangent and that's tangent, all good. I'm gonna make a trim here, and now that's gonna undefine my design, but that's good, that's okay. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is just drag a line up here and say that's vertical, and that's for construction. And as you see, it's completely defined in that position. So I'm just gonna say line and point and coincidence. And now this really depends on how big our dog is. So I'm gonna trigger the line, hold the shift, and say probably 600 mil tall. No, that's too much. 500 mil. Yeah, seems better. And how wide? Let's make it wide because I probably think my dog will be fat. So just remember, you have to be mindful about your design. Maybe not that much. Sorry. Yeah, you have to be mindful about what's gonna go in here. Obviously your dog, but it's always good to make a little measurement so you see it's gonna fit anyway. So I'm gonna copy, paste. Yeah, and then say inner room separator. And I'm gonna drag it in, and as I said before, it's not being shown because there's a cut here, but that's okay. Now, since I designed in the middle back again, as you see, you can probably see a design pattern that I'm doing, right? I always try to design it from the center, keep working from there. So that and that. And now this can go only that way. And I'm gonna click make a symmetric, well, not a symmetric, like a width mate here. And as you see, by default it does as a width mate, and it recognizes the faces on the same part with other faces in other part. So it's straight in the middle. And now it's looking much better. I'm not sure if I should put it there, actually. If the, I'm sorry, if the door should be there on the other side. Let's just think about it. Yeah, I think it's gonna be on that side. Who doesn't like to have somewhere to sleep really close to where you go into your house? So yeah, that's gonna be it. So now we're gonna have to close this here, and we are pretty much done for the theory design. So now we're gonna, after that, we're just gonna go into the detail, which is gonna be creating the hinges, creating the handles, making the fixings, and obviously trying to figure out what to do here. And yeah, and as always, I'm just gonna give it a little rendering so I have something to show. I don't like that view, so I always go front view, 2 to the left, 1 to the bottom, and center the view. And that's what I like to show. But probably in this design, I'm gonna go to the left instead of the right, just because I want to show the door. Yeah, so that's gonna be it. Let's just let it think a little bit. So it renders. So whenever you're doing a pre-render, just remember to hover your mouse over the lines. So it seems like you have to do that, or maybe it's just my computer. But if you're not getting the results that you want, just remember that you can do this, so it looks better. It redefines the edges and stuff like that. And just be careful when you try to save it. If you click on it, it's gonna calculate. It's gonna mess up everything again. So you have to do it twice. For some reason, really, I have no idea why that's SolidWorks does that. At least in the previous versions of it, it used to do that too. So just be careful about that, I guess. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. That's going to be it for today. See you next time. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like it and share it. Subscribe and follow me on social media to know when I'm live. And if you want to support this channel, click on the Patreon button. See you in the next design.